Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask Leah. This week's question comes from a leader who was having a conversation with me recently about their inner critic and their limiting beliefs. And this leader is doing a great job, but they said to me, Leah, I feel like I'm a fraud and like I am not smart enough or good enough to be leading this team. Now, inner critic, inner self-doubt is not unusual. The first thing I said to this leader was, you are not alone. You see, we often think that everyone else has got their shit together and we're the only one with often debilitating self-doubt, but it is so common. Now, I run a whole workshop on this. I could speak on this and do for a whole day. That's not what I'm going to do here. Instead, I am going to share with you two, actually maybe three of the strategies that I talk this leader through and that I often work with leaders on in the programs that I run. The first step is identifying what the limiting belief is, because when we internalize it, we think it's real rather than, hey, what is the story I'm telling myself? So this leader's story was, I'm a fraud, I'm not good enough. The second thing I got this person to do was look at the evidence. What does the evidence say? And I got them to dot point all the reasons why that statement that I'm a fraud and I'm not good enough was not true. And some of their reasons included, well, I was a leader on this multi-million-dollar project and it went really well and I got good feedback. And even just putting this down on paper, the leader could see, okay, so this is a thought and a belief that I have, but the facts are telling me a very different thing. The third thing that I got this leader to do was ask themselves, what would I say to a friend? I said to this leader, you know what? If someone with your qualifications and experience, doing the job that you're doing, having the relationships you are with your team where you're really trying to connect, if they said to you, oh, I'm such a fraud, I'm useless, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough to lead this team, what would you say to them? And this leader just smirked at me and they said, I would say, come on, the evidence says otherwise. You might think that, but it's not the reality. You are enough. You are good enough. You are the real deal. And that leads me to number 4. I said I was going to do 2 or 3, but I'm actually going to do 4. And that is coming up with a bit of a mantra that counters the self-talk. So the self-talk will still pop up, I'm a fraud. Well, what is your key message counter-attack to that? And this leader came up with, I'm the real deal. Now, the first time they say that or said that, they felt like a bit of an idiot. Like, I don't believe that. I still feel like a fraud. But the key is to talk back to it. Don't leave I'm a fraud as the unchallenged belief there. So again, we identified what the limiting belief was. Shine a light on it, expose it to the world. Ask, what does the evidence say? Usually it says something else. Third, ask yourself, what would I say to a friend? Because chances are you are way more brutal to yourself than you are to anyone else. You need to talk to yourself like you would to a friend. I know it's hard. I struggle with this myself. So I'm taking this advice as much as I am giving it out to you. And number 4, create a mantra or a counterattack statement that you can say back to that negative self-talk, inner critic, voice of self-doubt. I so hope that that helps you. I certainly hope it helps the leader that I was working with recently. If you have a communication, leadership, self-management, emotional intelligence question you would like answered, send it through and I will do my best to answer it for you next week. Cheers.